Hi, this is Dr. Ernesto from Attaboy Cowboy, and today I'm going to talk about how to deal with vacations and all the delicious food that you get on cruise ships or other places without gaining too much weight. Now, there's an endless supply here of foods. I'm on a cruise ship here, and we're out at sea for over a week, and there's so much food here to eat. It's unbelievable. We're blessed. The only thing is that there's a great deal of temptation here. Hey, what's up, Felix? You make all this fresh every day? Everything's baked fresh? That's awesome. It's a lot of work, man. And it looks so pretty every day. And this is just one counter. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counters. You're just starting. So one of the first things you want to do is when you're eating like high sugary snacks, you want to try to combine it with things that are high fiber and that will help slow the absorption of the sugar. So for example, if you're going to eat some of these breads and some of these pastries here that look so delicious, you can see them on the walls here and they actually do look like that. You can add nuts, peanuts, almonds, walnuts. Here in the cruise ship, they have a lot of nuts. So whenever I do eat like a piece of cheesecake or some other type of dessert, I make sure I add a lot of nuts to it. It has a lot of fiber. They're nutritious and it'll help slow the absorption of the sugar because of the protein, the fiber, and the nuts. So whenever you're gonna have these sweets, add fiber to it, add nuts. That's gonna help slow absorption. The slower the sugar absorbs into your bloodstream, the less of an insulin spike you're gonna get. So you're gonna absorb less of this into your body, which means you'll gain less weight. And this is Felix. He's allowing me to film all the delicious food he makes. Hi, Felix.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Ernesto. How
Uh-huh.
are you?
Where are you from, Felix?
Peru.
All right. Thanks, Felix, for letting us tour.
Enjoy your cruise ship, eh?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Another strategy you can try when you're eating these breads and all these things that make your sugar spike. Remember, all flours are going to make your sugar spike. Is add protein to them. I don't eat meats, but you can add meat. But if you want to eat something healthier, you can add peanut butter, you can add almond butter. That has protein. It's going to slow the absorption of the sugar. And you can add things that have more fiber. Like you could add lettuce, tomato, berries, fruits, any kind of vegetable. That's going to help slow the absorption of the sugars into the bloodstream. What you don't want is to eat a bunch of this delicious stuff and have it just like flow into your blood quickly because your insulin is going to spike and you're going to start absorbing more of this into your body. So you're going to gain more weight. If you can figure out how to slow it down by adding more fiber and protein, that's going to help immensely slow the absorption. So you're going to gain less weight. Now juices are tough. They have a juice bar here and they make you fresh juices, apple, orange, all sorts of stuff. Even though they're fresh squeezed, juices are never good. There's not much you can do. It's best to avoid them. Better to drink coffee, tea, water, because liquid sugar is pretty hard. It's gonna go right into your blood and it's gonna spike your insulin levels and you're gonna gain a lot more weight. But if you're trying to slow that process, this is gonna be pretty hard. All I can say is if you're gonna try to drink these types of juices, make it a smoothie, grind the entire fruit in a blender and drink it that way. That pulp will actually help slow the process slightly so you don't gain as much weight. But otherwise, you want to just try to avoid juices. You're going to get less bang for your buck. Most of the nutrients is in the fiber anyway. So if you're throwing away all the fiber from these delicious oranges, all you're getting is just sugar, the water, and a little bit of nutrients. So these are not going to help if you're trying to not gain weight at a buffet or a cruise ship. Now meats, when you're eating all these meats over here, obviously you want to avoid all the processed meats. The bacon, the sausage, all this stuff is the worst. Try to stick to whole meats, whole chicken, whole beef, baked chicken, baked piece of pork or beef. Don't eat the stuff that's like these processed meats. They're full of phosphates, nitrates, things that are not real good for you. They cause cancer. They have a lot of salt. These things are going to make you retain more water, you gain more weight. So it's better to eat whole meats if you're going to eat meats on the ship. Now I know these are really tasty, these hash browns and the potatoes and all these other stuff. These are another killer. Try to avoid the potatoes, the French fries, the string fries, the rice. Those make you gain a lot of weight. It makes your sugar spike. They have a lot of starch. They're not the best options. They have a lot of grease. Avoid all the fried foods. Try to go for like the steamed vegetables or make a salad. In fact, before you eat, it's best even at breakfast or lunch or dinner, make yourself a salad so you get full, or at least partially full, and then you can eat some of this other stuff. But if you start off with this stuff, you're gonna gain a lot of weight. You're gonna retain a lot of water because of all the salt you're eating. Now, I remember specifically when I was in school, one of my professors won a Presidential Medal of Honor. He went to the White House to meet with Clinton. And one of the things he taught us was that when you eat processed meat like this, ham, corned beef, link sausage, bacon, all these types of meats, they have so many preservatives and so many chemicals that they can actually cause you to have like all sorts of different types of cancers in your intestinal tract. But when you combine them with caffeine, which is what people typically do, they eat like they drink coffee, with their breakfast, and they eat their bacon and eggs, it creates one of the most dangerous carcinogens known to man that we consume. And you put it in your body when you eat these processed meats with caffeine. The chemicals react, the caffeine with this chemicals in the meat, and it creates these carcinogens, and it travels through your entire intestinal tract, and it can cause cancer anywhere in your system. So it's best just to avoid these. Now these are awesome. Look at this. These are donuts. Now, who wouldn't want to have a donut? These are beautiful. But if you're gonna eat these, think about how you can quench it, how you can kind of negate some of the negative damage it's gonna cause to your body. These are full of sugar, full of white flour, and they're deep fried. So how would I approach this? Well, if I was gonna eat this, I would put some nuts on it. So you can see this one has pistachios, the green one, right here. You could add some almonds, some walnuts, some peanuts. The protein, the fiber will help slow the absorption. You can also try drinking it with some water. Drink some water, that helps reduce the amount of the sugar going into your blood because you're diluting it. You can also, it doesn't sound very appealing, but you can chase it with like a green juice. They have some spinach juices here. The fiber in the juice would be good, unless you're willing to eat like a salad or eat some carrot sticks or something like that. That would help so you don't absorb it as quickly. But a green juice would probably be a good option. Now all these processed meats like the bacon, the sausage, like these bolognas, all this stuff you just want to avoid. It's just too much trouble. There's too many carcinogens in it. My dad was a butcher for 33 years, and he saw all the stuff and told us about it throughout our childhood, and it's not real appetizing. But he talked about how a lot of the times the meats would get old, and they basically just grind it up and add more nitrates and phosphates and salts to it. That's not real good. So it's best to just eat whole meats, like real pieces of pork off the animal, or pieces of beef or chicken, not the stuff that's been ground up and colored so it looks perfect like this. This is not what the meat actually looks like. It's like all, like if you get a weenie or a sausage or something, it's all the same color. That's not how they actually look. That's not possible. It's best just to avoid them. This is kind of some of the stuff you want to eat. Fruits, veggies, nuts. You want to try to combine these with the unhealthy stuff you eat. So if you're going to eat bacon or donuts or anything like that, load it up with, fruits, vegetables, and nuts. That's going to help negate some of those effects. So again, if you're going to eat something like that, just add a little bit of this in there. That'll help slow the absorption of the fats and the sugar, and it will also negate some of the damage. So there's stuff in here you can find. There's always options. You just have to mix it up so it's not all the stuff that's not real good for you. And of course, the ideal alternative is something like this, like vegetables. Remember, like 1 teaspoon or let's say 1 tablespoon of vegetables, these are green juices, is as nutritious as 10 to 20 tablespoons of fruit. So again, 1 tablespoon of veggies is as nutritious as 10 to 20 spoonfuls of fruits. So try to mix in more vegetables if you're going to eat food that's not real good for you. That'll help counteract some of the negative effects. Now, breads are not nutritious. They're not real good for you. They're nutritious, they'll keep you alive, I should say, but they're gonna make you gain a lot of weight. So if you can, it's best to just try to avoid them. Breakfast cereals, just avoid them. They're all full of sugar. They're not real good for you. In fact, a lot of people think that cereals should be placed with like candy bars because a lot of them have more sugar than like candy bars. So if you want cereal, just try to eat real, just like plain old oatmeal. Oatmeal is going to be your best option. It's going to have a lot of fiber. That's something you can also use to help counteract the effects of any bad food you might be eating, or greasy or sugary food. But these cereals, none of these processed cereals are a good alternative. They're just going to make you gain a lot of weight along with the bread. Milks. Now, milk is for cows, not for humans. But if you like it, I used to drink a lot growing up. But as an adult, I'm lactose intolerant. Something like 80% of humans are lactose intolerant. You might not always feel the effects, but it does lower your immune response and does cause inflammation. So it's always best to try to drink alternatives. Soy milk, almond milk, whatever you like. Try to drink that and less. That's going to be much better for you. Now the oatmeal, the cream of wheat, and the grits are a good option because they're going to be high fiber. They're going to help slow the absorption of the fats, the sugars, and the salts from the food you're eating. And they're going to help you stay full longer if you don't eat as much. So these are good to eat pretty much any time of the day. But when you're making them, just make sure you're not adding a lot of this extra sugar in there. Instead of adding the brown sugar or some of this other stuff, you can add the peanut butter, and maybe you can add fresh fruit. That would be much better. Because if you're going to eat oatmeal and you're adding sugar, then that's going to take some of the luster off of it. Although it's still going to be good, it's going to be better if you don't. Even the raisins would be a better option. Use some raisins and fresh fruit. And that's why it's good to start your breakfast with like some oatmeal, because it'll get you full so you don't eat as much. And then for lunch and dinner, you could always start them with a salad. That way you get full faster and you don't eat as much. So these are good to keep in mind. Grits, cream of wheat, or oatmeal. Bagels, muffins, white toast, brown toast, all this, you just want to avoid it. Way too much. It's going to make you gain a lot of weight, and you don't get a lot of benefit out of it. It doesn't really have much flavor if you think about it. But if you want to gain weight quickly, this is a good way to do it. These are not good. It's going to make your sugar spike. You're going to gain a lot of weight. Not to mention all the stuff you usually put on the bread, like the butter, margarine, the jams. All that's going to make it even worse. Now for condiments, well, ketchup is great. I love ketchup, but it has a lot of sugar in it. And so does some of these other things like sweet chili sauce. Mayonnaise has a lot of fat in it, a lot of oil. It's not real good for you. Usually it's like low quality oil. Some good alternatives would be like Tabasco is awesome. Gives your food a lot of flavor and basically no calories. Mustard is awesome. No calories basically. And if you want, you can try soy sauce, you use pepper. But some of these sweet ones, you want to try to avoid these because it's just going to add more sugar to your food. You're going to add extra calories where you don't really need it. There's so much food here that you have to try to save wherever you can on cutting sugar or fat down. Now, fruits are a decent alternative. They're high fiber and they have vitamins and minerals and stuff. They're nutritious. So these are good. The only problem is that they're high in sugar, a lot of them. And because they have a lot of water, that's why they're fruits. They're not as nutritious as vegetables. Now, they are a good option, but if you can, try to mix in more veggies. Because remember, 1 tablespoon of veggies is like eating 10 to 20 tablespoons of fruits. Vegetables are just much more nutritious. So try to integrate more vegetables. I eat fruit at a minimum. I eat it only when I want like a dessert because it tastes good. Not necessarily because I think it's healthy. It is healthy, but vegetables are much healthier, so they're a much better alternative. Now your drinks, try to stick to tea, coffee, water. There's all these like hot chocolate and stuff that's full of sugar. It's not real good for you. The milks, again, if you can drink, it's not going to hurt you. It's not very much milk, but if you can get the plant alternatives, those are better. Pretty much all teas are good. All of them are going to have some type of benefit. All the artificial sweeteners, not real good. A lot of issues with your organs and they're carcinogenic. But the only one is good for you or okay to use is stevia, but you don't see a lot of that. Sweet and Low, Splenda, weight, all these are not real good for you. If you're gonna drink coffee, try to drink it black or with milk. Don't put sugars in it, because then you're just gonna cause more issues with weight gain. And again, all the fruit juices, it's better just to avoid them. It's really hard to negate the effects of these. I mean, you're better off, instead of drinking a glass of orange juice, just put a teaspoon of sugar if you have to in your coffee, but you don't want to drink any juices. These are not going to be real good for you. Try to just keep it to water so you get full. Especially if you're diabetic or something, drink more water, more coffee, so that you can decrease the inflows of the sugar into your body. You can kind of dilute it so your sugar doesn't spike as much. Thank you for watching my tour of how to eat in a buffet and a cruise ship. I hope this helps plan out your meals a little better so you don't gain weight during a trip or a good outing to a nice restaurant. Thanks for watching. Many blessings. It's Dr. Ernesto. Thank you and goodbye.